What if the secret to unshakable happiness had nothing to do with money, success, or perfect circumstances, but was something a quiet old woman discovered after losing everything she ever loved? In a small, peaceful village, there lived an elderly woman who carried something rare, a calm that people couldn't quite explain. It didn't matter if the sun was blazing or a storm was rolling in. She always wore the same gentle smile, the same steady look in her eyes. Neighbors came to her with their heaviest burdens, their deepest fears, and somehow, with just a few soft words, she made them feel like they could breathe again. One afternoon, a young woman walked up to her porch. Her eyes were swollen and red. She looked like someone who had been fighting a battle inside her own mind for way too long. She sat down, wrapped her hands around her knees, and asked the question that had been sitting on her chest like a stone. How are you always happy? No matter what goes wrong, you never fall apart. Doesn't anything ever hurt you? The old woman didn't answer right away. She quietly reached over, poured a cup of warm tea, and slid it across the table. Then she said, "Sweetheart, happiness doesn't come from what's happening around you. It comes from what you're carrying inside." The young woman shook her head. "I don't get that. When everything around you is falling apart, how is anyone supposed to feel okay?" The old woman glanced at the small oil lamp flickering on the table beside them. Its flame swayed gently, but never went out. She took a slow breath and said, "Let me tell you something I've never forgotten. When I was young, I had a husband and children. We didn't have much. Our house was small. Our pockets were thin, but that place was filled with so much laughter, it felt like the walls were smiling. Then one day, my husband got sick. We didn't have money for real treatment. We tried everything we could with what we had. But day by day, I watched him get worse, and then one morning, he was gone." The young woman went completely still. "I cried for days, weeks. I felt like someone had reached into my chest and turned off every light. I honestly didn't know how I was going to keep going. But then something shifted in me, not all at once, not dramatically, it was quiet. I looked at my children and I realized they still needed me. They needed my strength, not just my tears. So I wiped my face and I made a decision. I was going to live again." She reached out and rested her fingers on the little lamp. "Every single morning, I light this flame. And I say to myself, this is a new day. I'm going to find one reason to smile. Some days that reason is tiny. Maybe it's the sunlight coming through the curtains. Maybe it's a bird singing outside. Maybe it's just a kind word from someone passing by. But I promise you, there is always something if you're willing to look for it." The young woman sat quietly, turning those words over in her mind. Then she asked, almost in a whisper, "But what if something really terrible happens? How do you stay okay through that?" The old woman nodded slowly like she had asked herself that same question 1,000 times. "It's not easy. I won't lie to you. When the pain comes, you feel it, and that's okay. You're supposed to feel it, but I remind myself, nothing lasts forever. Not the good, not the bad. When something breaks me down, I force myself to look at what I still have, my health, my friendships, my memories, the simple fact that I woke up this morning. Happiness is a choice, baby. You can stare at the darkness and sink into it, or you can turn toward the light and find something to be grateful for." The young woman looked at the lamp again. That tiny flame was flickering, bending, like it might go out at any second, but it never did. She looked at the old woman's face, and for the first time all day, she smiled. "Thank you," she whispered. "I think I actually understand now." That night, when she got home, she found a small oil lamp sitting in her room. She lit it carefully, watched the flame rise, and whispered the words she'd heard that afternoon. "This is a new day. I'm going to find one reason to smile." At first, the reasons were small. The morning breeze drifting through an open window. The sound of kids laughing down the street. The smell of something warm coming from the kitchen. But those small reasons slowly started doing something to her heart. They started rewiring it. Even on the hard days, even when life felt heavy and unfair, she remembered that lamp. She remembered that the flame bends, but it doesn't go out, and people noticed. The same way they had noticed the old woman, they began to notice her. They started asking her the same question the young woman had once asked. And she would smile, that same calm, knowing smile, and say exactly what she had been told. Happiness doesn't come from the world around you. It starts inside your heart. And just like that, one quiet flame of peace spread through an entire village. Not through grand speeches or perfect circumstances, but through one old woman who had been broken by life, chose to keep her lamp burning anyway, and never stopped lighting the way for everyone around her.